Hey everyone, so it's been quite a while since I did a soft-spoken film ramble. So if you're relatively new to my channel and you've never seen one of these videos here before, basically I'm just going to talk to you about films and we can have little discussions in the comments about things we've watched and loved. I will be speaking more softly than usual because this is for ASMR purposes. It's supposed to be something to which one can relax and not watch something that necessarily is harshly edited or with heavy music and things. And normally I would do this with my notebook. I write down all of the films that I've watched, but I am obviously not at home just now, so I can't do that. But I do have a couple of lists on the iPad, so I'm just going to go through them as always and just pick out films that I think are noteworthy. Do feel free to share your views if you've seen any of them, and of course, as always, let me know what you think of any others. So I guess the first one that I want to talk about is Divine Secrets of the SISTERHOOD. This is a Sandra Bullock film and I hauled it recently and a few people said that I would absolutely love it. And I did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's quite an odd film in a very, very good way. I kind of feel like for me it didn't feel like a Sandra Bullock film. Like I wasn't watching it thinking, oh my goodness, that's Sandra Bullock, I love her so much. I think I was more watching it thinking, I want to be part of the SISTERHOOD. So it's quite nuts, but it's very good. What else have I watched? I watched JAKOB the Liar, which is set during the war, Second World War, and it's about the treatment of the Jews by the Nazis. And Robin Williams plays a character, a Jew in a ghetto, who is rumoured to have a radio. And he starts to tell these lies about it to make people feel better, and it's all about, well, is it okay to tell lies if it makes people happy and gives them hope, or is it actually being deceitful? And it's a very, obviously when you're dealing with that kind of thing, it's a very emotional, sentimental film. I definitely recommend it. It's really well done. I think it's very well directed and the script's quite nice. I did like it. Trail of Tears. Trail of Tears I won't go into too much as I've mentioned it in my recent film highlights, which was up a few videos previous, but I watched that because Pam Dawber is in it. I love Pam Dawber appropriately. She was Mindy to Robin Williams' Mork, and it's about these two women whose children have both been abducted by their own fathers, and they go across the country in search of their children, and it's a very emotional film. I believe it said it was based on truth, but I can't, I did a brief search and I can't actually find anything else about that. I'm not sure if it's based on a specific story or if it's just kind of loosely based on similar tales. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a very good film and I love Pam Dawber. The Witches of Eastwick. Jack Nicholson's very good. But Jack Nicholson's always very good. The Witches of Eastwick is not as good as I thought it would be. But it's not, I don't think it's about what I thought it was about. Like, it's one of those films where I kind of didn't know what to expect, but I kind of had a preconceived notion in my mind and it just wasn't that. So I think I was a little bit let down. But I would still recommend it. I did enjoy it, and I think particularly the ending, kind of the last third of the film was very much to my liking, so I liked that a lot. So that was good. Train to Hell with Hugh Grant, that was a pretty mediocre average film, nothing too exciting. Magnificent Seven, I don't want to talk about that in this video because that's a Helena Bonham Carter film, and I will be talking about that when I review the last batch of her DVDs. I've watched I've got 2 more of her films to watch and then I'm done and I've seen them all. And I'm trying to prolong that because I don't want it to be over. Of course I don't. It's devastating. I love her. And yes, Magnificent Seven's about, she has children and the girls are conventionally considered normal, but her boys, they all have different levels of autism. But yeah, I'll give more in-depth opinion when I do that review video. I did watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, and that didn't make it into my film highlights because I'm annoyed because it broke the pattern. Like, I loved the first one and I loved the third one. Didn't really care for the second or the fourth. So by rights, the 5th Nightmare on Elm Street film should have been amazing. it was alright. There wasn't anything wrong with it. I just thought the story was a little bit monotonous. It didn't really, it wasn't really that scary. Maybe I'm just too acclimatized to Freddy Krueger, I don't know. But it was fine, it wasn't that bad. Scream Park. Scream Park plays up to one of my biggest fears. One of my irrational fears is amusement parks after lights out. I can go into an amusement park in the daytime perfectly fine, but when they shut off all the rides, or if you have like a ride that is broken and turned off and it's got the cloth over it, or arcade games that aren't plugged in, I just have this fear of them, and I don't know why, I don't know where it comes from, but I'm just terrified of broken down fair rides or turned off fair rides at night. And Scream Park is set in a fairground at night, and these murderers come along and start killing people in really obscure ways, and it's really scary. I think because it's all set in this one location, it's a little bit slow moving at times. You know, you're looking at the same things again and again, but it's quite gory and graphic, so I really like it. Bicentennial Man I've talked about in my film highlights, and it's so sweet. I mean, I love Robin Williams so much. I would definitely watch it again. Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close is another Sandra Bullock film, and it's about a boy who goes in search of everybody who knew his father. His father died during 9/11, and he finds this key on the anniversary of his father's death among his father's belongings, and he goes in search of everybody with the surname Black, because there was a note with it, to try and find out what this key did and who it belonged to and why his father had it. And it's obviously emotional when you're dealing with anything as heavy as 9/11, but it's not depressive. You know, it's quite uplifting because of this boy's character. He really drives the story forward in a very positive way, and he's such a lovely character to observe. And there's obviously this quest, this adventure he's on, and he meets some really interesting characters, and I think it is a beautiful study of human nature. So yeah, that didn't make it into my film highlights, which again I thought it would because it's Sandra Bullock and I'm obsessed, but it is very good. Actually, another Bullock film that I didn't like, I really didn't like this film, is Crash. I did some review searching after I watched it, because I often watch a film and then read reviews to see if people agree with my opinions or not, and Crash, some people loved it. A lot of people like me thought, what was the point in that? Really didn't like it. It's kind of all these different stories, quite dramatic stories interweaved, and they all connect in one way or another, and it's just like, what's the point in this? Why? No, I didn't like it, but if you've seen it, by all means let me know your thoughts. Heathers. I watched Heathers after quite a few people recommended it, with Winona Ryder, and I love Winona Ryder. Heathers is about a bit of an outcast girl who's friends with these three girls called Heather. Kind of like an early days Mean Girls film, I think. But she befriends this kind of psychotic boy who we don't really think is dangerous to begin with, and then they go on this killing spree. It's so bizarre. It's very good, and I think if you like Winona Ryder, you should see it, and if you don't like Winona Ryder, you should still see it, because I think it'll make you like Winona Ryder. 9 Months. 9 Months was a Hugh Grant film that I did actually like. I liked that quite a lot. It's about a guy. He finds out his girlfriend's pregnant, and he's not ready to give up his lifestyle and his 2-seater car and all these lavish things that he has to become a father. And it's all about him coming to terms with that and making the right choices, or maybe the wrong choices. And I do actually like Hugh Grant. Gremlins. Have I talked about Gremlins? I don't think I did actually. Gremlins I really liked, and obviously the gremlin itself is just it's adorable. It's so cute. I actually want one. I want a pet gremlin, but I'd probably get it really wet, and that just, yeah, it wouldn't be worth the hassle, I don't think. 2 weeks. 2 weeks notice. Yeah, I did enjoy 2 weeks notice. What else have we got here? We have a lot of films that, so when you watch a film and then you kind of just don't remember if you've watched it. It's one of those films where you think it sounds interesting, you watch it, it was average, you wipe it out of your mind. and then 6 months later you come across that film again and you think, oh, this sounds interesting. You watch it, and then 5 minutes into it you think, ah, I've seen this, why don't I remember seeing this, or why did I forget about it? And I think reading through this list there are certain titles where I remember the name of it, but I can't see it, I can't picture it, I don't know what it's about, and these are the films that just don't stick with you, and it's such a shame. But it obviously means that they weren't that great for me personally. Playing with dolls I was very disappointed by, and the ending was just horrendous. It was really, really bad. Like, there wasn't an ending. It's like somebody had just cut the film reel at the wrong point. Where's the rest of the film? It had potential. It was about a murderer who takes limbs of his different victims and, you know, plays with them, and it had great potential, and I think as a premise written down it sounds fantastic, but executed it's just abysmal, and that's a shame. I mean, there were bits of it which were alright. It's not completely horrendous, but no, I was very disappointed by that because I had such high hopes for it. Secret Life of Pets. Ah yes, I did see Secret Life of Pets, but I've never talked about it. It's not as... I think it's one of those films where most of the comedy is in the trailer, which I think is a shame, because you go in, again, with such high hopes, and then you watch it and think, well, most of the funny bits I'd already seen in the trailer, and obviously from a marketing perspective you want the most comical, or some of the most comical bits to be in the trailer, because you want to attract people, you want to say, look how funny this film is, and it worked. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's such a lovely film, and if you're an animal lover, it's great. And if you want to, what I love most about this is that it's an animal film where it's not too sad. Like, as a rule, I cannot watch animal films if they're sentimental. I can't do it. I prefer animals to people. I'm one of those people. And it's not too sentimental. I didn't cry at all. so that's very good. No, it was good. The Blind Side. Yes, another Sandra Bullock film. She adopts this black boy. It's a true story, and it's something she accepts him for who he is, rather than him being a misfit and being stared at by other people. And it's so lovely. And he goes on to become this champion football player. Football is in America, not soccer. And I can't remember his name, and that is absolutely awful of me. It was quite a while ago that I watched this now. But yeah, it wouldn't normally be my kind of thing, because I don't care about sports, I'm not interested. But it's not really about that, it's about connecting and bringing people together and actually giving somebody the chance in life to get out of a slum life, to actually make something of themselves, and it's so sweet. And blonde Sandra Bullock, normally I'm not bothered about. Like, she was blonde in All About Steve, and that actually kind of launched my Bullock obsession. I'd watched her in a couple of other things before that, namely Miss Congeniality, both of them wonderful films, and I became obsessed with her after I then watched All About Steve, and I thought, oh my god, I love this woman. It's just blonde in The Blind Side, and I prefer her with dark hair, but that's just me being superficial. Snow White, A Tale of Terror, pretty unmemorable. I think Snow White's been pretty done to death. I mean, this was a 1997 film, so I guess it's been done to death after that. Snow White's not my favourite Disney princess. Don't really like Disney princesses, but I do like dark films, and Snow White, A Tale of Terror was quite good. It was alright. A Mighty Heart, Angelina Jolie. She had really good hair in this. I love hair, got an obsession with hair, even though I look like a rag doll. Don Juan DeMarco I've talked about to the hilt. Don Juan DeMarco if it's in the film, but again, Byron's credited as the writer for some bizarre reason. Puppet Master. Puppet Master is another film that I was really looking forward to, because I love films with killer dolls and puppets and where toys become evil. Evil toys are brilliant. But Puppet Master was just... It's a shame because there's quite a few of them. There's at least a second film. I think there's a third film. In fact, there might be like 5 or 6 Puppet Master films. And I was like, yes, this will be a new series that I can be addicted to and binge watch them. But no, I wasn't. I was a little bit let down by that, unfortunately. Never mind. 28 Days I talked about as well. 28 Days is a Sandra Bullock film, and she goes into rehab because she's got a bit of a drink problem, and she meets all these other people who are addicted to like heroin and different kinds of drugs and alcohol, and they have different issues of their own, and she obviously doesn't want to be there. And then it's a lovely film. I really liked it. It really touched me, I think. And Stephen King's it. So that's basically the last kind of 2 months worth of films that I think are noteworthy. As I said, there were plenty others there, but it's those films where you watch them and then you kind of forget you watched them because they're just not really that important, which is a shame, because obviously it's somebody's artwork and somebody obviously spent a long time creating it. But there we go. So if you like these more relaxing film rambles, I know some of you do, and I keep meaning to do them, and then I just, other videos take priority and then I forget. You may know I have a pretty awful memory. Even if I write things down, I forget to look at the piece of paper on which I've written it. Yeah, as always, if you have any film suggestions for me, I would love to hear them, and I'll speak to you all in my next video. Bye!